Alright, the next kind of mean we're going to do is mean for grouped data. Now, one of the problems when we turn things into distribution tables, or we're given only distribution tables, is we don't know the raw data. So what we need to do is make a good estimate of the mean. And the way we're going to do that is we need a candidate to represent each data point. Okay, so we can see that there's one data point in the first class, there's 4 in the second, 5 in the third, and 2 in the last one. But we still don't know where it lies within there. But what we do know is that whether it's closer to 20 or closer to 24, it's still fairly close to the midpoint. So we're going to find the midpoint, which we represent by x over m, of each one of these classes. Now if you recall, 20 plus 24 divided by 2, doesn't matter if you use the boundaries or the limits. This is 44 divided by 2 is 22. That gives us our midpoint. And we could do this for each one, or we could figure out what the class width is, which would be 25 minus 20. Take the last two consecutive lowers. That's the easiest way I like to do it. And just find that's 5. Then add it and you get 27, 32, 37, and we have our midpoints. Now this represents each one of these data points. And so what we're going to do is essentially just add them up like we did before, but we're going to kind of use a shortcut by multiplying. Okay, so the formula that they give us in the book is x bar is the sum of f times the midpoint, the frequency times the midpoint over this n, how many data points there are. Now, how do we get n? Well, n is just the sum of the frequencies. So in this case, that would be 1 plus 4 plus 5 plus 2, which is 12. Now you can either plug in n with this formula here, or you can just plug in 12 because we've done it already. Alright, so let's write this down the way we're going to do this problem. And we have frequency, there's 1, so we use 22 for that data point. Plus now there's 4 of those. So since it's the same thing over and over, I could write it as 27 plus 27 plus 27, but it's just easier to say 4 27s plus 5 32s plus 2 times 37 over 12. Alright, so now at this point I think it's just easiest to plug in your calculator. So we'll do that. And of course you need parentheses. So we're going to go 22. Remember this was a times 1, but you don't really need to multiply by 1, so I just left it off. 22 plus 4 times 27 plus 5 times 32 plus 2 times 37. Let's double check to make sure we didn't type wrong things, which is always the case for me. Alright, so that looks good. So that's our numerator. Divide by 12 and we get 33 repeating. Use our rounding rule and we get 30.3. And we have our mean for grouped data.